not everyone sees the world as you do, and don't try to see the world as everybody else. See it the way you see it, and then just be creative. Indonesian, as an observer, observing from the outside, Indonesians are creative.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kembali lagi bersama saya Hairul Hudaya di acara Bincang Inovasi. Hari ini sangat spesial kita di Universitas Indonesia karena kedatangan tamu ini jauh-jauh, ini bedanya mungkin 12-13 jam dari Indonesia ya, yaitu Bapak George Anwar. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm fine too. Thank you so much for having the time and also to have a talk with us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, teman-teman, kita kenalkan dulu ya. Jadi Pak George Anwar ini, beliau memang keturunan Indonesia, orang Indonesia, tapi katanya nggak terlalu fasih dalam bahasa Indonesia. Nanti mungkin perkenalan sedikit. Dan beliau adalah lecturer dan co-director dari Globe Mechanical Engineering dari UC Berkeley. Wah, teman-teman tahu kan, UC Berkeley ini adalah salah satu universitas top dunia ya. Kalau dilihat dari QS World Ranking, World University Ranking itu top terus, top 10 ya biasanya. Selalu bertengger di situ ya. Nah, kita kedatangan salah satu tamu yang luar biasa, Pak George. Can I call you Pak George?
Yes, or George is fine.
Yes. Yeah. So, would you please introduce yourself?
Okay. Wow. Where do I start? Well, first and foremost, I'm still Indonesian.
Indonesian.
I'm probably the only illiterate Indonesian in the whole world. Unfortunately, I can't. I can. Yeah, masih bisa.
Sedikit
aja bahasanya. But I still hold the Indonesian passport.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and I grew up pretty much in the United States, in the Bay Area. Went to high school, went to the tail end of the elementary school there, and then through the whole high school, and then went to UC Berkeley straight as an undergraduate.
When did you did your undergraduate study?
It was a while ago. So I graduated from high school in 1978.
1978.
1978.
Oh, you look still young anyway.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and then and a lot of it. The interesting thing is my choice for going to UC Berkeley. It had nothing to do with me. I was a typical, troublemaker son that didn't really, care much. But I had a very traditionally strict Sumatran father, so he definitely was the guiding light and the strong hand. And he basically said, "Yeah, you have to go to UC Berkeley and nowhere else." And I'm like, okay. It happens to be close to home.
Yeah. Okay.
So I applied to UC Berkeley, and then it had nothing to do with the engineering, although he did want me to go into engineering, but it had to do with the Berkeley Mafia. That's why my father wanted to strictly. That was it. It's because the Berkeley Mafia went to Berkeley. He said, "Okay, you have to go to Berkeley." But then I was going to study engineering, and I wanted to design aircraft.
Okay.
But then it turns out that Berkeley didn't have an aeronautical department then, or aerospace. They do now.
They do now. Yeah.
But they didn't back then. So I went and thought the closest choice was going to be mechanical engineering. Right. Okay. There's still fluids there, and airplanes mechanical. So all right. So that's good enough. And I had I didn't really know how good Berkeley was when I applied as undergraduate. But then my father said, "No, you're going to study nuclear engineering."
Oh, so you studied it?
I doubled major as an undergraduate to nuclear and mechanical, and thank goodness, because in the senior year of nuclear engineering, Three Mile Island happened.
Yes,
The entire,
TMI.
the
It is
entire industry,
1978, right?
yeah, the
Yeah.
entire industry just completely
Yeah.
collapsed.
Yeah.
I was even interning. I was even interning at Bechtel at the
Oh,
time.
at the time.
Yeah, as an Indonesian student.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
So I was in Bechtel in first containment.
Yeah.
So and then right there, their entire floor was gone by the end of summer, and they
Okay.
said, so.
But you saved, no problem.
So then, of course, having my opportunity to intern at at Bechtel, for two summers, it convinced me to go to graduate school. So I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna work like this if this is what undergraduate works.
Yeah.
Gives me so.
Thank you so much for a nice introduction about yourself during your stay in UC for your undergraduates. And you did your postgraduate in UC Berkeley as well?
The graduate school at Berkeley as well, yeah. Both my master's and then my PhD, but both in mechanical engineering. Yeah.
And then you joined UC Berkeley at the time after your graduation.
No. So when I was a PhD student, that's when I started the engineering company. I started it with several friends. We're all students. It was a joke.
Yeah.
It was off of a class project, and it was a class project that I was already a teaching assistant of at the time.
Yeah.
And it is a policy from the faculty that the students have to come up with the idea. We can't know nothing about the idea. It's got to be the student's idea.
Okay.
Then there were these two students, but they were struggling. They were really, really having a hard time. And then they said, "God, is there any?" It was already getting late to the deadline and so forth. And then I go, but I already had an idea of a product that I wanted to make and start a company doing it. So then I went to them. I go, "Okay, this is definitely breaking the rules, but we're gonna start a company." So then we do that. And then,
is it kind of startup coming from the campus from the UC Berkeley or outside?
Not back then. Not back then. No. The startup we started individually.
Okay.
In the U.S., that was nothing at that time. It was $80. You file. I didn't even know all of these, and then one of the other students, was more business minded, and he ended up doing an MBA for business and everything else. But he came on here, no problem. So just that's how in the U.S. It's just really easy. $80. We filed it. Boom. That's it. We got a company. Oh, that's it. Yeah, okay. So then the interesting thing for us again is, so that was sort of the one aspect of the conversation that we have earlier, where there's this transition.
Yes.
In the university from purely research to now they want to cater to industry. They need it. They need it to survive. So
just hold on because we will talk about that one.
Okay. Sure.
Teman-teman, jadi nanti kita akan pengen tanya ya lebih lanjut kenapa UC Berkeley sekarang bisa jadi universitas yang dengan industrinya itu luar biasa hubungannya. Nanti kita pengen tahu. But before going that one, I would like to know that you are now co-director of Globe. Would you please and explain to us about this Globe?
Okay, so I actually became the co-director of Globe mainly because of the program that I started. So I'm sort of in charge of that program. So as I was going as an undergraduate, at one time I was the only Indonesian mechanical engineer, campus. And then in total, I think by the time I got to graduate school, I think in the whole campus at that time, there was only 3 graduate students. Okay.
Indonesian, you mean?
Indonesians.
Okay.
Graduate students.
Okay.
And actually one of them, in engineering, there's a few more that was outside. And one of them actually is Professor Sastrio Sumantri.
Oh.
He's my elder.
You're elder.
So he was last year in the PhD.
Yeah.
And I was the first.
Okay.
So he was sort of my mentor.
Yeah.
And then at that point, there was another Indonesian.
A little bit explanation. Jadi Pak Menteri Satrio yang baru saja mengundurkan diri itu senior beliau nih.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So you work together with him.
He
Yeah?
is, yes. Oh, yeah. We're in the same building.
And also he is mechanical engineer.
He is mechanical. That's correct. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he is. Okay, so this is where this all starts. Okay, Berkeley is a very old school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say relatively, Indonesia also as a whole is a very old country. Yeah, granted, okay, we really are something after the war, right? But, you know, the former minister, Sastrio, he was actually the first mechanical engineer, Indonesian mechanical engineer that got a PhD from the mechanical engineering department.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he was first.
The first one. And you are the second. So
And even then, I think up to now, I think we only, I don't know, maybe we have more, but last count that I had is I think we only have had eight from Indonesia. We are the fourth most populated country in the world.
Compared to
and
India,
we only
for
have 8. Oh, India don't even count.
don't even count.
Oh, you can't even recognize the engineering department. There's so many
so
Indians
please-
there, and then so many from China.
Please encourage from Indonesia then.
Well, okay. The big encouragement and the only reason why I'm so passionate and why I'm actually here,
Yeah.
okay, is so you asked about the co-directorship
Yeah.
and how that got started was because of that. Because of all of that, I was curious. How come there's not that many Indonesians that get accepted?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not, especially for me, it's just in the sciences, right?
Yeah,
I'm looking at science and the math. It's not that they're not skillful in the science and math.
Yeah.
They're actually brilliant. Okay, 1 year as an undergraduate, 1 year not as an undergraduate. Well, not when I'm already teaching. As 1 year as an undergraduate, I actually got about 4 students in my class, and they form a group. These 4 students, they were the best in the class, and it's not a bias. It's not because I'm Indonesian. Usually, I try to make it even harder for them, but they're able to stand. So no. There's just absolutely the talent is completely there. It's just that the opportunity isn't there. So then I asked, well, why is it? You know, how is it that they're not? The acceptance rate is so low. So one of the things that the administration tells me partly is one is the numbers. It's a numbers game. There's not enough Indonesians that apply. That's one. Then the other one is the admission process is based on the essay.
Okay.
The writing of the essay. Okay. So then I start this program and then I'm looking at the essays of these high school students that come in and I'm like, okay. Then I go, okay, maybe it's unfair. Right? I'm too used to.
Okay.
So then I handed it over to some of my other students that are my students, that are international students that have gotten accepted, and I had them read the essays and then tell me, what's wrong with these essays? Why do you think they can't be accepted? So then, and then the students came to the same conclusion I did. So the one thing is these students that write these essays, the sentence formation, the paragraph formations, they're perfect. You can actually learn English from that. You know, the way that it is structured. You know, the pronouns, the adverbs, near perfection. You can write an English book out of it. But then both of my students, they come up to me and they go, but yeah, the grammar is just, it's perfect and everything else, but what are they saying? the content.
The content.
The content isn't there.
Yeah.
It's just, and so I started this sort of summer program for Indonesian high schools to come, and they'll spend 3 weeks in our lab and then do intensive, you know, design and innovation.
What is the result?
Unbelievable in terms of the results. One, yes, they are very, very creative. So I'll give you one example. We do 3D printing, right? This is one. So they have access to the 3D printing. And I don't say much. I just show examples of 3D printing. And then I say, okay, design something and then try to put an Indonesian flavor to it. Because they're all Indonesian students. 9 of them. So then there was this one girl, the youngest actually. She was in the 10th grade. She came, but very shy. Very shy. So next to the But all of a sudden, I find out later on. I find out actually on this trip. I found out on this trip that she is incredibly observant. So it's key, which is key.
She really interested in that
Really,
to become.
very beyond no, she wants to be a mechanical engineer now.
Yeah, now because of that program.
No, I don't know, but maybe. But she saw that we had, the Berkeley has a tower, famous tower, that's the Campus Elite. So it was standing right next to the 3D printer, and I saw this. I didn't mention it directly, but I said, "Here's a 3D printing example," and so forth. Goes out and do the design. Everybody else was making trinkets. There's some, 3D printed wayang and all of these things they draw. They're very artistic. And she comes back, and then, now I have a 3D printed Monas in the lab.
Monas in the lab because of that program.
Because of her. So that was it. Then on this trip, we had a alumni gathering of the students. And they came, and then she was very, very excited. And then she invited all of us to go to Binus, which is where she's from Binus. So I went to Binus, and then she showed me. She showed me, and then she pleaded with me not to sue her for patent infringement. But we don't have a patent on any of this. But what they had access to do it in the program was to make propellers for a wind tunnel.
Okay.
Right. So we tested it on the wind tunnel.
So that summer program is part of the Globe.
Yeah, it's part of Globe. Yeah. It's the Berkeley Engineering Youth Academy. That's what it is.
I hope also you can invite some UE students as well, maybe. But this is for high school.
Yeah, it's only for high school. Oh, okay. It's meant for only for high school. So then, and then when I came here, believe it or not, she duplicated the wind tunnel.
Oh.
She built it herself.
Oh my God.
The wind tunnel.
I think it could even for high school students, they can have imagery.
Wow. Oh yeah. No, absolutely. So, it has to be. The key is that it has to be. They have to be given the opportunity. It has to be nurtured. And then, it has to be recognized.
Yes.
The innovation has to be recognized. That is key. You got to be able, and then you got to, of course, nurture it and foster it.
Josh. Then now we are coming for the very hot topic today.
Okay.
Apa coba? Itu adalah how do UC Berkeley manage for the research and innovation actually? In general, first.
Okay. So in general, all the responsibility of the university is to provide the facilities.
Okay.
Right. So I've had the opportunity to teach in a few universities, then Berkeley being the top rank, so I can compare. And the main difference is the facility and access to facilities.
Okay.
Because otherwise, you don't get the full essence, well, especially of engineering, right? But then with the facilities, is then those that are creative enough and innovative enough to, by seeing the facility and seeing the equipment, they get the passionate to basically use it in the wrong way, actually, in some cases. And that's really where the innovation then really starts to pour out. So to me, the key, I think, in Berkeley is the facilities. They provide the facilities.
Okay. Facilities is one of the things that we have to consider. But how about the management of human resources? For example, is there any special treatment for the lecturer or professor who are doing work for research and innovation?
Yes. If you want to drive, absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's for the Nobel Prize winners.
Yes. There are quite lots of UC Berkeley.
Yeah, that's one. So Berkeley has a number of Nobel Prize winners.
Yes.
Okay. But how they are actually encouraged is the fact that they are the only level, not even the chancellor or the chair or anything else. They are the only ones that can park in special designated spot in the center of the campus for free. So if you ever follow, and then if there's an announcement that UC Berkeley has another faculty that got a Nobel Prize, right? Usually they get in the California time, they get the message from Stockholm in about 4 or 5 in the morning, and the press is already in front of the house. And they'll always ask them, and now it's almost pretty much a standard answer. The professor says, "Oh, now you got the Nobel Prize. What
contribution.
what is the thing?" And they go, "No, the best thing about it is now I get to park for free in the center of campus." They'll actually say that, and that's a big thing. I mean, there are other things that are there. Of course, there is, of course, the patent office. That's a pendulum that we also earlier started the conversation. That's a pendulum that has swung. Right now, the encouragement of the patent is very similar to what you have. It's the same thing. So when a faculty comes up with a patent, and then of course that gets assigned to the university. If you're a full tenure lecturer, and then at that point, the patent office manages all the patents in terms of the licensing and everything else, and then they get a royalty, and then of course, bragging rights, the fact that you got patents, and that's typically how, and it's completely encouraged. It's completely encouraged from faculty to do the patents, and then
you have Skydeck. Skydeck, which has kind of business incubator over there.
It's an incubator, yes.
So what is the support of the university for that startup incubation?
For the Skydeck? Oh, that's also new. That's completely new. Okay. Where that is new is the problem that the whole system itself has been happening is University of California is a state school. Although the state doesn't fund it much, a lot of times you see sort of talks about, why don't we just privatize everything else because of the namesake, right, the fame and everything. But no, it's a state school. But then the state funding is not, in reality, it's not that much. Most of the funding comes from corporate donations, right, or grants, federal grants and so forth. And who knows what's going to happen with that in the short run. But mostly now, it's, especially in engineering, in the STEM side, most of it is basically doing research for companies, right? Like so car companies like Hyundai has a center of excellence in the ME department at Berkeley. So through that, they get the first right of refusal for any of the technology that comes up. But then, even with those, it's already negotiated with the university that even though Hyundai and if the research is done on Berkeley campus, Berkeley will own the patent, and then Hyundai will be licensed to it.
Wow!
Yeah,
and you get money from that one.
And then of course the faculty gets
they have
a percentage of royalty. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I get. So I get a check once a year.
Please, little bit
bonus.
Elaborate about what you say about the pendulum.
Yes.
Switching when it was happened.
Yes. So the interesting thing is that pendulum swung right when I was sort of in the midst of my graduate studies, and it went from something that is purely theoretical to more leaning towards more applied theoretical research. It's still theoretical, but it's got to be focused on something that's applied. Okay, and then one of the big ones, of course, is in the field of it started with the field of robotics, right? And then again, so sometimes a lot of these things I say, I mean, there's a benefit to the fact that I'm sitting at UC Berkeley and its reputation is, it was way before me. That reputation was already there, and companies have no doubt. Okay. When the pendulum has swung. Okay. So, like I said, when the pendulum has swung, is again the faculty needed to get. There's 2 points where these are swung, and both of them are applicable. And one of them is the development of Skydeck. But before, it's just, the type of research that we do. It has to have more of a practical trend, not something that's, maybe it's useful 20, 40 years out, right? And along the lines of Nobel Prize type stuffs, but it is now a lot more closer, right? So that's when the thing swung, but then we needed, at that point, equipment. We can't just do simulation and everything else. So, but robot companies love to
Yeah.
They just donate equipment because they hope that you do
Okay.
research with that. So that's the one part where it's then they started recruiting. They wanted to get engineers that are a lot more hands-on, a lot more practical. I went through my entire undergraduate program without building a single thing. Everything was on paper.
Okay.
Everything was designed on paper.
Theoretical.
Today, every single class is project oriented. That's where the pendulum has swung. Now it's like every student, and then it's all open. The project part, yes, we put in what the guidelines are, but all of it is students have to come up with the project. It's their project. And part of it, we found this out, is that if they come up with a project, they hold ownerships to it.
Yeah.
And I would say a good 10 to 15% of these projects that the students come up with, they're motivated enough to do their own startup.
Yes.
And then they continue on with Skydeck, and that's where the Skydeck.
So it seems like, kind of, a continuation from the project in the class, and then you are making startup.
No, absolutely.
You are dealing also with the patent or any kind of, property writing.
Yeah.
So, wow, this is very beautiful.
It's a nice ecosystem that's been developed.
And it is also designed, including the curriculum as well, right?
Yeah.
It's also
curriculum
designed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's why we have all now sort of project-based in terms of the curriculum. And then, so, it is. That's
as far as you know, I mean, this is engineering part, I mean STEM, yeah? How about the social science and social humaniora, right? Do you have an idea? I mean, the similar pathway like that one, or?
Well, okay. No, well, the problem is it's also then the industry, right? It's where exactly do they go?
Yeah.
I mean, for us, it's very biased because Silicon Valley is right down the street.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like, I mean, I don't want to say anything, but talking about the facilities, I think you have here your facility, which is excellent, which is great. I was really like, oh yeah, this is great. Students can make PCBs in the facilities. With Berkeley, you could actually make a semiconductor.
Okay.
Right. We have a semiconductor fab on campus, and that's what I mean by facilities.
Yeah.
Right. So,
That's number one. You said about facilities, and you think that is the most important thing here.
It is because, reputation is definitely, of course, the most. Right? UC Berkeley is just, the namesake, and then you could just go down the history in terms of what UC Berkeley means. Everybody recognizes. So that's a big one. That's a big one in terms of attracting and retaining good faculty. But the facilities is the facility and the reputation is what retains the faculty.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
I understand.
Because, and why the faculty we talk about it, and why does the faculty not want to move is because along that same chain, is that's how we attract all the good students. The key to UC Berkeley success is, I hate to say it, but it's not really the faculty. The faculty helps, but it's the students.
Thank you.
The students.
This is the last session because you are limited time as well. So teman-teman ya, ini mungkin last session. Pak Jos, you're still Indonesians, right? So yes. But please let us motivate. Please you motivate us. What should be done as a lecturer, especially to having more innovation and also research to be implemented based on your experience? Because you are Indonesian outside. If you see Indonesia right now, what do you think that we have to improve to accelerate or similar thing like that? Do you have some advice?
Yeah, I do actually. I do. Indonesians needs to be a little bit more outgoing. We're in my opinion, and how I observe compared to my American students and outsiders, Indonesia in general as a whole, and then even as a country, is fairly passive. And you can't. If you want to be globally competitive, I'm not saying like being obnoxious like Americans, but this is actually a podcast, so America's going to hear this. But you need to be a little bit more outgoing. For the students, it's like whatever you think of. Don't be afraid of failure. That's a paradigm that has shifted now. Is no, you just no. You have to just try and do. Don't also not do it because you fail. You're afraid of failure. And then also, if you have an idea and then someone or your colleagues and someone sits there and go, oh, that's a crazy idea. No, that's not going to work. That might be the idea that's going to change the world, right? Because not everyone sees the world as you do, and don't try to see the world as everybody else. See it the way you see it, and then just be creative. Indonesian, as an observer, observing from the outside, Indonesians are creative people. They are, and we can't be 17,000 islands and being all together with all the cultural differences that we are not creative. But one thing is creativity cannot be taught. It can only be fostered, right? And that's why you need a facility. It can't be taught. But it's in us. It's in all of us. We're all creative. It clearly is. It has to be.
Yes.
That's
how
God made us.
And one of the creative Indonesian is you are.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. There's way more creative than me.
It was really nice
Oh, you
meeting
did,
you here.
absolutely. Thank you
so much.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Oke teman-teman, itu tadi perbincangan kita dengan salah satu orang Indonesia nih, masih paspor Indonesia yang sekarang menjadi lecturer and co-director Globe di Mechanical Engineering Department University of UC Berkeley, California Berkeley. Terima kasih. Tadi saya tidak perlu menyimpulkan, tadi sudah motivasi juga dari beliau, dan kita kembali lagi di acara Bincang Inovasi episode selanjutnya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.